Guys, what is going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. Guys, do me a favor. You know what I'm going to ask you? Give that like button a smash. Give that like button a smash. Guys, I just want to say thank you for the support. Thank you for all the comments. I'm going through the comments. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for all the comments where you're saying, Imran, I really like your channel. You're unbiased. All of the, I read all of them. I like all of them. I see you guys are commenting. I see you guys are saying what you're saying. We will do a live tomorrow. You know, and we will discuss everything in boxing. But don't forget, on every video, this video, please smash the like button because it really helps the algorithm, as you guys are aware and I've told you a lot of the time. So yeah, let's get into the video. So guys, Caleb Plant, Mr. Sweet Hands Plant, has got Andre Ward. He was taking advice. I don't know whether Andre Ward has been added to his camp, but he was there talking and doing some work with Andre Ward. That's great. Now, just because you're doing some work with Andre Ward doesn't mean that, you know, you're going to be able to implement what he's saying and stuff. But picking the mind of an all-time great like that, picking a mind of somebody that was so naturally gifted, somebody that had such high boxing IQ, I think is a very good move. You know, because Andre Ward was a special fighter. Andre Ward had this, and he had this in abundance. Caleb Plant's not Andre Ward. However, even if you can pick your mind and you can become a sponge around Andre Ward, you can, for me, use what he's telling you and adopt it into your game plan. Like, I'm pretty sure Andre Ward and him would be going through, you know, what he needs to do in the Canelo Alvarez fight, what, you know, his strengths are, what Canelo's weaknesses are, what Caleb can exploit. Because there are things that Caleb can exploit. Caleb's got very fast hands and very fast feet. Well, he has got kind of fastest feet. And we know that Canelo in the past has trouble with fighters like that. But it's being able to do it for 12 rounds. It's being able to keep your pace. Now, I've seen videos and footage of Caleb where he was in the 12th round looking absolutely spent, where he was looking knackered and tired as anything. He can't afford to be like that against Canelo because Canelo's going to be consistent from round 1 to round 12. Canelo gets tired as well. But the problem is that Caleb Plant, even if Canelo is tired, Caleb Plant really hasn't got the punching power or the physicality to really push Canelo back like that, in my opinion. So if Canelo's tired, whereas if Caleb is tired, Canelo has the kind of power that is going to really hurt Caleb Plant. And that's where Caleb is going to struggle. You know, if Caleb is tired, Canelo has the kind of power to take him out. If Canelo is tired, Caleb doesn't really have the power. And I don't really think Caleb's a physical fight that's going to be able to make Canelo. Because a lot of people say Canelo doesn't have great stamina, or in the past he's shown bad stamina. That's not true. Canelo, the times where Canelo's stamina has slowed down, where he has looked vulnerable, where he has looked like he may be slowing down, is when he fought guys like Golovkin. Thing is with guys like Golovkin, they were able to pressure him, and they were physically, and for me, Golovkin was physically stronger than Canelo. And what I mean by that is he had huge punching power. He was naturally a bigger guy, and he was physically a very strong guy. Canelo felt his presence, felt his punching power when he was in front of him. And when Golovkin was stalking Canelo, right, Canelo was getting drained, not just physically but mentally, because he couldn't keep Golovkin off. I remember, if you remember a footage in the first fight where Canelo hit Golovkin with literally a massive right hand, and Golovkin just nodded, like he just literally nodded and walked forward. That must be so demoralizing and so mentally draining for Canelo. So that's the kind of style. This is why I say Beterbiev could be a problem for Canelo, because Beterbiev could put Canelo on the back foot. Beterbiev has a physical style. He has a very physical presence when he's in the ring. He's very strong. And fighters like that, for me, could cause Canelo issues because they're physically very strong. Caleb Plant's not that type of fighter. So Caleb Plant's going to have to fight a smart 12-round fight. Because he's not going to knock, let's be honest, he's not going to knock Canelo out, is he? Caleb Plant hasn't got the power to knock Canelo out. And Andre Ward wasn't a real big power puncher. So Andre Ward was a guy that gave you different looks. He adjusted very well in the ring. He was very smart. He had very good defense. Caleb's going to need all of the traits that Andre Ward had in order to beat Canelo. And it still may not be enough. You know, most people would have favored, I know obviously the Canelo fans wouldn't, but there's a lot of people that I speak to that would have favored Andre Ward to beat Canelo. So, and beside whether you think Andre Ward can beat Canelo anyway is irrelevant, because Andre Ward's a great boxing mind. So to have him and picking his brains and asking him for advice, it's the best. Like, Andre Ward's probably been the best super middleweight in the last, you know, 20 years, you know. Obviously, Roy Jones moved up, but Roy Jones wasn't a natural super middleweight. I'm talking guys that were naturally at that weight. I would definitely say that, you know, Andre Ward was one of the best. You know, maybe him and Calzaghe possibly. But Andre Ward was definitely one of the best super middleweights, you know, of all time. So, personally, I think Caleb picking his brains, Caleb getting advice from him isn't a bad thing. I know a lot of people saying, oh, Andre Ward, what's he going to... Trust me, when you've got a guy like that in your corner and a guy that experienced and a guy with that kind of knowledge, it can definitely help. You know, picking his brain, you know, there's a lot of things that we as normal fans don't know that, you know, someone like Andre Ward knows, because he's been in the ring. You know, how to take a breather. What Caleb Plant needs to do to give Canelo different looks. How Caleb Plant needs to go about trying to outbox Canelo, but at the same time not get tired. And what I mean by not getting tired is Caleb Plant has shown in the past that he slows down in fights. So how's he going to conserve his energy? All of these things, because Andre Ward was brilliant at that. Andre Ward never used to really get tired, because Andre Ward used to control the pace of the fight. Andre Ward used to dictate the pace of the fight. He used to make the fight at his pace. So he wasn't ever tired. The only time where Andre Ward struggled was against Kovalev, because Kovalev was a very good boxer and he was a big puncher. And Andre Ward really struggled in those fights. You know, he had a very tough fight against Kovalev. But even in that first fight, where I thought Kovalev won that fight, Andre Ward was able to make a comeback later on in that fight, because Andre Ward was really good at making adjustments. Even then, I felt he lost the fight. I'm just going to be brutally honest. I felt Kovalev beat him. But the fact of the matter is that Andre Ward, even after getting knocked down in the second round or first round, whenever it was, he made adjustments and come back, and he managed not just to survive, but he managed to win a lot of those later rounds, which, again, you've got to give him credit for, because he was in there with a big puncher. So like I said, Andre Ward knows a lot more than what we know about the sport of boxing. So Caleb Plant picking his brains for me is the right thing to do. You know, when you're picking the brains of a guy that has achieved so much and then achieved it in your division. You know, it's not like Andre Ward giving advice to any fighter is beneficial, but Andre Ward giving advice to a guy in a division that he dominated for so many years is gold. You know, I feel like you know, Caleb Plant could pick up a lot from Andre Ward. He could pick up a lot, because Andre Ward, like I said, he was one of the best. So I think it's a great move. I don't know whether he's actually got Andre Ward in camp, or it's just you know, Andre Ward was just there, or he was maybe went to his gym and seen him. Maybe it's something, a documentary they're filming, or maybe he was just interviewing him. I don't know. But wherever the case is, getting advice from Andre Ward isn't going to hurt your chances, right? I'm not saying that that's going to mean now he wins. No, I'm just saying that it definitely isn't going to hurt your chances, is it? By you speaking to somebody that knowledgeable, by you getting advice from somebody with that kind of ability and IQ, by him passing on his knowledge to you, is only going to help. But it's going to be fascinating to see, man. It's going to be fascinating to see for me how Caleb Plant approaches the fight. I'm really interested to see what kind of game plan Caleb's gonna have. I think we all know Caleb's he's almost one-dimensional in the sense that, for me, he's gonna come and he's gonna look to box and move. But it's just whether he could do that for 12 rounds without getting caught with big shots, without getting caught with big body shots, without getting worn down. And that footage that I saw, I can't get it out of my head, where in the 12th round he was absolutely exhausted and he was throwing punches and he was looking very mediocre throwing those punches. I get, and someone said, well, oh, you know what, it was a 12-round fight and he was absolutely knackered. And one of the guys replied, have you ever seen Canelo in the 12th round look that bad, where he's struggling to literally throw punches? And that's why I said to you that Canelo's consistent from round 1 to round 12. Canelo never looks mediocre, even in the 12th round, even at the end of the fight. Even against Golovkin when he was under a lot of pressure, Canelo Alvarez always looks great. So this is a very, very, very difficult fight for Caleb Plant. Don't get things twisted. It's a very, very tough fight. And the fact that he's speaking to Andre Ward, like I said, I think it's a good thing because you can pick his brain, but that doesn't mean that changes the situation. And even if Andre Ward was in his corner, that doesn't mean anything, because at the end of the day, you can only give, you can tell him what to do, but can he execute it, especially when you've got somebody like Canelo in the ring with you. You know, it's all right having all the plans in the world and having a game plan set, but can you follow that game plan when you've got somebody that's trying to put you off your game plan, like a Canelo Alvarez? It's difficult. It's difficult, man. I like Caleb in the sense that he's confident. I like the fact that if he is bringing Andre Ward in, or he's talking to Andre Ward because he wants advice, it shows you that he's serious and he wants to beat Canelo Alvarez. But it's a big challenge. It's a big task. It's going to be very, very difficult, especially with Caleb not having the biggest punching power. It's going to be very difficult for him to be able to deter Canelo. And Canelo at the minute, as we've seen in his previous fights, he just seems to be getting better and better and better. And there doesn't really seem to be anybody out there to be able to match Canelo. So it's going to be difficult for Caleb Plant. Let's just be straight up about it. It's going to be very difficult, you know. It doesn't matter who's training Caleb Plant. It doesn't matter who's he's getting advice from. It's going to be tough because Canelo right now is at the peak of his powers. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see whether he's brought Andre Ward in, or is just like he was just there in the gym and Andre Ward was just giving him advice. Who knows? Who knows? Time will tell. But like I said, it's not going to hurt his chances speaking to somebody like Andre Ward, who had the boxing IQ of Andre Ward. Caleb Plant has made some interesting goals. It's not about the money. It's about, I'm not just coming here for the paycheck. I'm coming here to win. You know, a lot of fighters say that, and then obviously when they get, we need to see his performances, because at the end of the day, his performance is what will tell us whether he's there for the win and not just the paycheck. Of course, even if he wins, at the end of the day, the money's not going to hurt, because the money is basically he's a prize fighter, so he's fighting for money, and he deserves it as well. They deserve it because they're warriors. They put themselves, you know, they put themselves on the line for our entertainment. So, you know, we need to respect them. We need to respect Caleb Plant. We need to respect Canelo Alvarez. Both of them are giving us an undisputed fight. So that needs to be respected. Both of them are putting their titles on the line, or in Canelo's case, titles on the line, and Caleb Plant's case, title on the line. And to give us a huge undisputed fight, you know, and there's going to be an undisputed champion crowned at the end of the night. So that's what we want to see. It's a great matchup, great fight. I'm glad it's made. Hopefully there's no pullouts. Hopefully there's no COVID. Hopefully there's none of that. And hopefully we get to see an undisputed champion on November 6th. I'm really looking forward to this fight. I'm very excited, actually. Very excited, because it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a good fight. And one thing I like about Caleb is making it more exciting by all this trash talk, all this stuff about, you know, what he's saying right now. He's really trying to get into Canelo's head. He's trying to play. He's trying to have a go at Canelo. Don't know whether it's going to work. Only time will tell. But I'm looking forward to it, and it's definitely made me even more excited and more looking forward to the fight. And I think a lot more people are going to tune in because of that. I think Caleb's done a lot of talking on Twitter. He's gone at Canelo. Let's see, man. Let's see if it works out for him on November the 6th, or is Canelo Alvarez going to add to his already all-time great resume, all-time great legacy that he's already, or great legacy that he's already got already, and add the undisputed tag to his name, where Canelo can say, I've been an undisputed champion. Let's see if he can do it. Leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.